Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another action figure review. In this episode, we're taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins collection, and this is Prince Adam and the Sky Sled. Very cool set here. It's copyright 2019, but started showing up in shelves 2020, and it's still kind of available here in 2021. Here, there, and abouts, so you might still be able to get it at retail. If not, you'll have to go to secondary markets, but good luck with that. But still, let's take a look at this thing. It's a really awesome looking package. We get finally a vehicle in the Masters of the Universe Origins line. We get the cool Sky Sled. It does have a couple of interchangeable parts here. We also get a very awesome Prince Adam figure in here. It comes in this really awesome looking package in here, very much a throwback to the original vintage line. Nice window box. We got some cool artwork all the way around here. Up in the top here you can see Prince Adam on his Sky Sled, ranged by a whole bunch of other Sky Sleds, and Wind Raiders, and the Roton. Very, very cool looking. Awesome artwork there. That artwork extends on down. You can see Castle Grayskull, some fiery stuff, and it goes all the way around the packaging. So that is pretty awesome. I will point out, as you probably have noticed, I've got a piece that's loose in here. The little fire effect on the front of the cannon has popped loose. So if you're looking for one of these on the secondary market, or if you're able to look in person, check to see if that piece is in place or not. It, for whatever reason, came loose and is just kind of rattling around in there. So no big deal. We're going to be opening this thing, so that's no problem for me. On the bottom here, we do have the standard copyrighty information. The logo here, copyrighty stuff, 2019, UPC code, etc., etc. The side here has some more of that cool artwork. Same on the other side, more of that extended artwork. Very, very nice. And then flipping it over to the back, we get some more cool artwork here. I got a little glare right there, so I'll pull up on that flap a little bit here. There is Prince Adam on the Sky Sled, whooping up on Skeletor and Beastman. There's Trapjaw in the corner, and see Man-at-Arms on top of the Wind Raider, and Castle Grayskull there. So, very cool. We also get a look at some of the rest of the vehicles. Well, the rest of the figures in the line here. Looks like this is the first couple of waves here. Then Battle Cat and the Sky Sled. And some instructions on how to swap these things out. So you got two different faces or heads, and then some panel pieces that swap out to change it from the evil warriors to the heroic warriors. So very, very cool. Without much further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive into this thing. The package here, so I actually picked this up in person, so the package turned out pretty good. There's a little bit of damage here on the corners. It came like that out of the pack, so shipping damage, I guess, is where that's from. And a couple of these corners are kind of creased up a little bit, but yeah, they weren't all that well packed, to be honest with you, so finding a really good one in pristine condition may be a little harder to do. You can also see right here in the center where the Sky Sled itself is kind of rubbing against that window. So you may have some scratching going on there. So just something to be on the lookout for if you are a mitten package collector. We got a piece of tape over here on the side, so we're going to start by trying to slice that off. And it looks like it's halfway on the flap and halfway on the unflap thing. So, then we are going to pop off, let's see, these flaps pop off from the top. Is that right? Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, these are latched in from the top. I'm not keeping the package, so I'm not going to worry about it, but there we go. Bend those flaps up. That comes out. I guess those are tabs. Then, let's see, this folds down This folds up and out. And hopefully we can just kind of reach in here, grab this, and pull the tray out. Very nice. Lifts out pretty cleanly. There's no extra little bits in here. No inserts or anything. So we'll toss this to the side. Come back to that later. Here is the actual package itself. We can see what all cool stuff we got here. That thing is popped out, so we'll go ahead and just take that out so it don't roll around anymore. We've got a couple of rubber bandy things holding some stuff in place, and then another plasticky tray that looks like it's actually glued down. So that's going to be interesting. But let's flip this over to the back to begin with, and let's see what we got here. So there's a little tabby thing here, one of those clear plastic bands. So let's see if we can pull that up enough to cut it. There's two of them in there, so we'll cut those. And then there's a couple down here. That one pulls right out. I guess that was what was attached there. Then we've got one down here. I'm just going to saw that instead of trying to pull up on it. And then on the very bottom bit here, we've got a couple of them here. Quite a few actually. So let's see how well this saw action works. Not the best in the world. I may need to sharpen my blade. There's one of them done. And then we got another one here, so I don't know, I'll try it. Well, there we go. So I ripped into that one, and this stand piece fell off, so that's that piece. Then we got another one right here. So this is why you should always cut away from you, so you don't end up hurting yourself. Pop that off. And then over here we've got another couple of them. So I guess I'm trying to be smart about this. We'll do it that way again. That's not working really well, but I can probably grab that one now. There's probably easier ways to go about doing this. I'm actually going to cut this one from the front. There. Then that piece slides out for our display base. And we got, see, that's that one. That one's cut. That one's cut. We got this here. And that should do it. Alright, so let's see how well this works. So this piece should just pull up and out now. Nope, I see another rubber band holding the cannon on, but maybe this piece will come out. Yeah, so that snake fang head comes out pretty easily. Then let's see here. We got one there. So let's reach in here real careful. I can cut that. I'm trying to cut away from the plastic. And then in theory this will pop out like so. Very cool looking. Then we've got Prince Adam's sword that just pops out. It's a little bent. We don't have to work on that. Then Prince Adam should come out. He had another rubber band thing on his arm, so that just pulled apart, so that's cool. So there's Adam. And then we got this bit in here for the side panels. And that's the part that's glued on. So we're just going to reach in up here, starting at the top where it's not glued on. Stick our thumb underneath there and then just rip that off. And then reach in there and grab those two side panels. Very, very cool. That is everything. So now we can toss that to the side. And we got a whole bunch of this mess here to clean up. So bear with me for just a second there. That looks good enough. So here is everything we get. We get the Sky Sled. We get an alternate headpiece. We get two alternate side pieces. We get Prince Adam with his power sword. We get this cool blast effect thing. We get a display stand. And we get the base for the display stand. Awesome. So, how we want to do this here. I guess we can zoom in a little bit now. A little bit closer. Not have to deal with the packaging as much. So let's start, I guess, with, I don't know, what do you want to start with? Let's look at the detail of this alternate sculpt headpiece for the thing. So this is the snake head, I guess you could say. So this is for the Evil Warriors. It's got a nice sculpt to it. It looks very metallic-y. You can see a couple of like rivets and things like that, which is very nice. But overall it looks pretty cool. The way this works is you take your Sky Sled, grab at the top here, and just kind of wiggle it a bit, and that pops right off. Then you got this peg joint here, so you just line that up and just snap it into place. Let's see how that works. It's a little tight, but there we go. Snapped in there pretty easily actually, so just kind of have to wiggle it a bit, and then it slides out, and then just press it back into place like that. It looks fairly seamless. It's got a little bit of an additional gap where you can see the void underneath it there, but it's not really noticeable, to be honest with you. If you don't know that it's there, you probably wouldn't notice it. So that's pretty cool. So we'll pop that back off and stick the original one back in there. Pretty nice. Then we've got these side pieces. These are kind of cool looking. They have a standard kind of sticker applied to them. I like the design on here. It very much looks like that original artwork style. I will note that there is some bubbling of that sticker right there. I don't know if you can see it well, but that kind of concerns me. You can kind of smooth it out with your finger fairly easily, but long term, I don't know. Those stickers are probably going to be hard to get in place afterwards, but we do get two of those, one for the left and one for the right. I don't notice any bubbling on this sticker, so that's cool. But standard kind of plate here. Let's see how these work. So looking at this thing here, we've got this plate here that we're going to replace. So if you look to the rear, there's essentially like a little thumb hold right there. You just kind of stick your nail under there and push forward, and this pops out and lifts right off, so that's cool. And then we grab the one that's got the same orientation, so this one, and just slide it and press it down until it kind of locks in place. So cool, a very easy change out to delineate the good guys from the bad guys here. So that's pretty cool. And that actually pops in and out fairly smoothly, so I am liking that. Let's take a look at both of those up close here. So we have the kind of fire dragon on one of them and the green alligator monster, I guess, on the other one. I guess maybe it's a red dragon and a green dragon. You could probably look at it that way. But pretty cool. I like the idea of these replaceable panels. We'll put this one back on here. for right now. So that's actually pretty awesome here. So we'll stick those up here for the time being. I guess we can move that down and keep those in frame, more or less. So there is that. We'll stick that there. Let's go ahead and, since we're on it, let's go ahead and look at, actually before we get to that, let's look at this fire effect. So this is kind of like the Marvel Legends kind of stuff. Very soft, well, semi-soft plastic here. It's translucent, nice color to it. You can hold it up to the light and see through it a little bit. It's got a nice peg system here, so a nice round bit here on the back end. That just plugs straight into the cannon on the front here. So just like that, presses in place, and then you got a cool firing effect. I don't know what it sounds like, but zip, 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 whatever. But that's really cool. It actually locks in place fairly well, so it's not like wiggling or anything, so that is pretty awesome. Got some decent sculpting effects here. I mean, you can't really see them too well unless you get up close to it, but it does a really good job of making a 3D representation of a flame burst. So that's cool. And that plugs in easily. I guess you could, no, it doesn't fit really anywhere else. It would be cool if we had some engine effects that we could do with that, but it don't fit back there, so yeah, it is what it is. So that's still a pretty cool little effect there. We're going to go ahead and look at this piece now here. So this is the main piece here, the main Sky Sled. Is that what they're calling it here? Yeah, Sky Sled. I got confused for a moment, so the design of this thing looks pretty awesome. I wish I'd thought ahead and grabbed the 2000 and the classics version of the Sky Sled to have here for comparison, but you may not have that. So as a standalone piece, this thing looks awesome. I really like all the cool design bits that they've got going on here. So just detail wise, you've got little bits here, little grates. Again, I don't know how well that shows up with the light here, but little grate bits, little compartmenty things here. We got some tread here on where the feet go. What does that show up? There we go. Nice tread bits. Cool blaster panels here. These are non-movable. I thought they might go up and down, but they're just kind of locked in place. Cool, different colored engines for the engine exhaust here. That doesn't move, but it looks like they've got a little thingy there, so maybe that's meant to latch on. So like in the original vintage line, we had a little panel here that allowed you to pop the Sky Sled into the battle ram. So that might still be what that's for, but there's been no talk of a battle ram anytime soon, but still pretty awesome. That's at least included design-wise. The cool kind of gargoyle thing here looks really awesome. Top, more grid panels here. Some really nice looking handles. They're kind of a softer plastic here. This whole piece actually is. Does that come off? Not easily, but it's a softer plastic there, so that's cool. This thing actually looks like it's can come loose as well. I don't know if it's supposed to. I don't think it's supposed to, but it's kind of wiggly, so just kind of press back on that anyways. Moving on here, we've got some cool sticker decals on the back here. A nice kind of targeting system grid, I guess is what I would call that. I don't know how well we can get that to pick up, but it's got nice black grid lines and some little dotty green things. A really nicely designed instrument panel here. Then the seat here looks pretty nice. Nothing too special about that. Flipping it over to the bottom, we've got some interesting stuff going on here. Again, more access panels, some little running light things, electronic-y things. hover things, hover systems, more vent bits and bobs, and the 2019 copyright. So all in all, a very nice looking design here. The front here actually has a different kind of plastic on this point here. I guess that's for safety issues. It's not real bendy, but it's a little bit bendy, so you're not going to get jabbed to death with that or anything. So very, very cool looking. I like that a lot. Let's see how well we can set Prince Adam on here. We do have foot pegs on these things, so you just kind of foot peg him in and he sits there pretty easily. If I took the time, I get the second foot to stick on there pretty easily, and he sits really nicely. No issues whatsoever. You can move his arms to grab the handles and all that good stuff. Pretty nice looking, so I like that. We also noticed on the bottom here we've got this round hole with the actual hole in it, a little peg hole. That's meant for this really cool thing here, our little display stand here. So this thing works very much like our Orco did. So we just kind of line that up and pop it into place with a little bit of pressure. I guess maybe more pressure than I'm trying to put on it. There, it's snapped into place. So that attaches, and then that gives you an articulated arm. So you can put this in whatever position you want, up, down, whatever, however you want to do it, for the battle stand here. So pretty cool. And let's see how easy that comes off. Not all that easy, but it does pop off, so that's good. It doesn't look like there's any damage to those little peg things, so that's pretty cool. I don't know how well that's going to work removing it multiple times, but anyways, that's a pretty cool thing. You can rotate it and everything here, like we said. Then this piece would attach to this ground piece here. So we got some fairly cool looking design work here, some rocks and stuff. It looks mostly just like sand though. Then this piece, I don't guess it matters if it goes forward or backwards. I guess it's just up to you, however you want to display that. So you just kind of line this up and press down on it, and it snaps in place. Easy peasy. It has a decent weight to it here. Let's put this back on there. It won't tip forward. Flip that up like that, it won't tip going backwards, so that's pretty awesome. And it stays in place here. Can shake it and things, turn it sideways. So all in all, that is a pretty cool stand. Feels fairly sturdy. I mean, if you shake it really hard, it'll like tilt forward. But just by itself, it's got a pretty good snap to it, so it's not gonna come loose real easily. So I like that. Let's pull this back off. That popped off fairly easily that time. And then to get this to pop back out, that looks like it's going to be a little bit more trouble than it's worth. So you probably aren't going to be able to remove that easily. The little plastic tabs here are fairly snug, and it's a pretty, I don't know how much I trust that particular plastic to not break. So I'm going to leave it in place, but that may be something to look out for as we go forward into the future. Those tabs may be a weak point. So, cool battle stand regardless. That brings us over to Prince Adam. And Prince Adam actually looks very cool here. The color scheme is very much similar to what we've seen in other Origins figures, in that it seems to be very bright compared to the vintage line, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like the way these colors look here. I guess we can pick it up and look at him here. Yeah, I like the colors here. The vest here is a secondary piece. Looks really nice on there. It's made of a softer plastic. So looking at the back of the arm here, the vest is actually kind of snugged up underneath his arm there. Again, that's the way it came packaged. So you may want to take a look at yours if you get one loose here, and kind of pull that away from getting trapped underneath that arm here. So as it stands, it looks very weird right now, but it'll loosen up a little bit. It's just kind of caught underneath there. The other arm looks fine. No issues with that one. The head sculpt looks really nice here. Very cool. It very much looks like the same head sculpt as the original He-Man that we got. I don't actually... Do I have that one? I'll grab it here in a few minutes and we can take a look at it here. But beyond that, some nice detail here. So there's some sculpting going on with the vest itself. It's not just a plain vest here. We've got a nice kind of collar effect going on here. A little bit of a kind of material bend right there for the shoulders to flare out of. Then around the waist we have a sculpted on belt. And as you can see, hopefully right through there, they've actually sculpted in like folds in the cloth there. So that is pretty cool. Beyond that, it's the same sculpt of the regular heroic warriors as we've seen in the past, just in this nice purpley color. Really like the way the boots look. The arms look fine. It looks like the Prince Adam that I remember from my youth, in that it had, you know, those bright white arms that go all the way down to past the little cufflink things, the little gauntlets. Very nice. Then on the back side, we don't really get a whole lot of detail, but they've looks like maybe sculpted in a little bit of the back detail as well. And again, we've got some nice folds in the cloth there, so very, very cool. That belt continues around. Yeah, very nice looking here. I'm curious about the belt here. I'm wondering if the belt allows this thing to come off or not. I don't really see an easy way to do that. Kind of looks like it's glued in place. Yeah, I think it's glued in place. So I'm looking real close in here, and it's definitely has been glued right there. So it's not a removable vest, so that's probably a good thing. I know one of the bigger issues with the original vintage line Adam figure was that the vest was easy to lose and kind of hard to find. So I kind of like that. I mean, you could go in there and probably pop it off with a knife or something like that pretty easily, but as it stands, it looks really nice. It does a really good job of representing that vest and belt kind of combo without it actually being a cloth piece, so I'm okay with it. Again, the head sculpt looks pretty nice here. Let me see if I can dial this down just a bit. Got pretty much the same head sculpt as before. The hair is sculpted in there. It looks really nice. Yeah, no issues with that at all. So, alright, articulation wise, the head does spin 360 degrees. It kind of gets caught a little bit on the vest, so you may have to wiggle it around to get it to go all the way around there. Up that much, down that much. You got side head tilt as well. The hair in the vest there do kind of limit the side tilt. Not so much going left, but if you try to go into the right, it does. You can probably wiggle that around a little bit to get it to fit a little snugger, or if you want to pose it a certain way, so that's fine. That hair is that still squishy hair piece. So still kind of cool. Standard ball and swivel at the shoulder joints there. The vest does somewhat limit articulation, but you can mostly get around that. So no big deal there. We got a swivel and a rocker there at the elbow joint. This one's pretty tight. You may have to loosen it up a little bit when you get one, but it's there. New figures are always kind of difficult to deal with there. Swivel and a rocker at the wrist. Very cool. We do have the standard waist twist. No ab crunch or anything like that, but waist twist is not inhibited by the vest at all. We got the standard plastic T-hooks at the hips. He goes out that far, which is really awesome. Forward about that much. Backward about that much, and then you can shift it around to get it to go back even further. We've got that weird ball swivel knee joint here. The knees don't look bad on this. I don't know if that's because of the purple color they've chosen. I know we had some issues at first with those knee joints from the original, like the Origins He-Man figure that came out, but either I've gotten used to it or it doesn't look bad for whatever reason here. So very nice there. You got a standard swivel at the top of the boot there, his little fuzzy boots. Then a regular rocker twisty thing at the ankle. Then, as we pointed out before, foot pegs. So those are awesome. His weapon we didn't touch on. We've got a full power sword here. Both halves, not a single half side, but two halves together. Nice magenta colored sword, just like he had in the vintage line. This one is a little bent from packaging. A little warm water, and I should be able to get that to form back up the right way. Same sculpt as the regular He-Man here, except that it's a double-sided one. The handle looks a little thicker than what I was remembering from the other figure, but it does seem to fit in his hand pretty easily there. He can hold it, grip it without much of an issue, but it's definitely a little bit thick. And if I'm remembering correctly, I seem to think they may have addressed that as a running change, so you may be able to find some of those with the thinner handles, but as it stands, it looks pretty good there in his hand. Not a big deal. It may work itself loose depending on play patterns and things like that, but for standard off-the-shelf collectors, I think it'll look just fine. I don't think you got to worry about it loosening up too badly over time. We don't have the ability to stick it in his back at all, so he just has to carry it. So you can't have him pull the sword from behind him as nicely as you would have otherwise. You can still twist his arms around a bit to get it to go into the right pose to make him look like he's drawing the power sword. But there's no sheath back there, so he's just going to have to carry it. And that's pretty cool. I don't mind that at all. My only concern is if he's trying to drive Sky Sled, where's the sword going to go? I mean, he can have his sword out and fighting bad guys at the same time, but that seems a little reckless. But I don't know. Still cool. I like the sword. I'm glad they went with that particular color as a throwback to that vintage line here. So let's see if we can get him to sit on here the right way this time. So line the foot pegs up, press down on them. It locks in place pretty easily. Do the second side the same way. That works really well, actually. Then you can tilt him up, back, however you need to. Push his arms back. Grip the handles. Handle 1. Let's see how we get handle 2 here. Actually works really well. So there is Adam all the way on the Sky Sled here. Again, you can adjust where the feet go. That one popped off a little bit here. But he can have like a wider stance at the bottom if you want, or whatever it is that you prefer. But it looks really cool there. Yeah, there's no place to put the sword, sadly, as you can stick it under like that or something. That'll work. He's liable to lose it though if he tilts forward, so not a really good combat place for it, but you know, it is what it is. You could stick it probably down between his legs or something there, which still probably isn't a good idea. So that's really my only concern. It would be nice to have a place to store weapons as you're fighting or zooming along, since he can't store it in his back. So a little piece of blue tack would actually fit and work pretty well for that. But you know, that's really the only gripe I got, so that's not too bad at all. So that looks pretty cool here. And since all these figures are basically the same style, you should be able to fit any of them figures on here whatsoever. No worries about compatibility or anything like that. So yeah, this was actually a very cool set here. I'm pretty stoked about this thing. I wasn't really sure how well this would work, but having it out here and in person, there's no issues with it whatsoever for me. I like the fact that they do have the interchangeable parts, so you can have both a good guy version or the heroic version and the evil version. That's pretty nice. I might have liked to see a second version of this with a different color. I know that's not really a feasible thing, but you know, I'm thinking more, I guess, of G.I. Joe, where the good guys had red lasers and the bad guys had blue lasers. So that might have been a nice little thing to have here, and plug in different colored fire for the good guys and bad guys. But that's not really an issue with this whatsoever. That's more of a me thinking out loud kind of thing. But yeah, so the interchangeable pieces, very cool little concept here. I really like that. I'm kind of hoping we see more of that in other lines, because that is a pretty nice little trick there. Adam is a really cool figure here. He works really well, being the secret identity of He-Man. They've done a really great job in kind of carrying through the aesthetics from the original vintage line with both Prince Adam and the Sky Sled here. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I'm just hoping that we do eventually get the battle ram that includes the other half of the battle ram plus the Sky Sled here, so we can have those more larger scale battles. That would be very, very cool here. So yeah, yeah, this cool set here. This retailed, I want to say, for about $29, $30 on store shelves. I know it may have been reduced. Sometimes there was weird distribution problems all throughout 2020 and 2021 as far as getting these things to show up in stores, and then they had like a surplus of them. So some stores had like 50 of them sitting on the shelf, and some stores had 0. It took a very long time for me to find one in person. My stores are terrible around here, and I actually ended up having to drive about an hour. I was already driving about an hour, so I just happened to go into that Walmart, and they had one in stock, so I was able to pick it up there. So that's why I got this one. Occasionally it does pop up online nowadays, so you may be able to pick it up through either Walmart.com or even Target.com or something like that. So if you can't find it in stores, I would check there first, because they do often allow you to ship it to your home, which is a plus. But it's a really cool set. For the $30, you get, the $15 figure, and then essentially you're paying $15 for the Sky Sled, which, I don't know. I think it's worth it in my head, considering this is kind of just a repaint kind of thing of He-Man. I don't really use that logic too much in my brain because pretty much all the figures in this line are repaints. So it's a $15 figure and a $15 vehicle, and it's still pretty cool. I like I said, you can swap the face plates and things like that, so you really get two different types of vehicles out of it. But I don't know. Pick it up if you can. I think you'll be happy with it, because I'm very happy with it. This thing is really cool. I like it. That's all the time we have for today, so thanks for watching. Drop some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this Prince Adam and Sky Sled set. How does it compare into the rest of the Masters of the Universe Origins line for you? What do you think about the interchangeable pieces here? Are you liking that concept? Yeah, anything else, put that down in the comment section as well. If you'd like to see anything in future episodes, let me know that as well. I'll try to get it out in front of y'all. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. You can probably give us a thumbs down if it really sucked, but yeah, that's up to you. Do what you want to do. I ain't gonna be mad. Until next time,